It's good to look at candlesticks and patterns that you see on the chart, but the context and the zones at which price has been bouncing in the past are much more important than candlestick pattern. Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another video. Today is July 15th, my birthday, but we need to go to the weekly review. I want to do things different a little bit today, so that's what we're going to do. So let's get to that right away. Here we go. I want to do the weekly review for this week, but I want to make it with a twist because of the fact that I'm really based on stats when I look at this, and the videos on the weekly review didn't get as many views as I thought. So what I think I want to do is I want to talk about price action. Let me first outline a few concepts that I really believe in. First off, I've never been able to create a strategy with price action only. And second, I've never been able to create a strategy without price action. So I think the key when you want to look at price action and use it in your trading is to look at the overall picture and include price action with other factors. Some people only trade price action. I've never found a way to make it work, probably because of my personality and how I behave and how I think and how I see things. But if you want to make it work for yourself, you can try it out and that might work. But I want to go through the chart. I've selected the pairs I'm going to trade already, but I want to show you guys kind of why I picked them and how I'm going to look at them in the coming week. So AUD CAD, this pair has been at a major level for some time, 0.97. Great level to look for a trade on this for sure. Now it's kind of pulling back to the level, but basically we see that price been ranging for some time. And I want to remind you guys that the first thing I look at whenever I trade is kind of price action, but more specifically the context. It's good to look at candlesticks and patterns that you see on the chart, but the context and the zones at which price has been bouncing in the past are much more important than candlestick pattern. Like, just think about that. A candlestick pattern by itself doesn't mean much, but a candlestick pattern that takes place in a proper zone means a lot, and that's what you want to look at. So AUD CAD has been around the 0.87 level for some time. I'm looking for trades on this, and basically how I combine for myself price action with other things is through the use of Bollinger Bands. And I like this tool because it's kind of simple, not too hard to look at. There's not 100 factors to look at, and it goes well on the chart. So basically I would look for price to go down to one of these lower band on the 1 hour chart, which you have right here, or on the 4 hour chart, and I would look for setup over there. Now the other factor of price action I would look at this point is I want to see some candlestick patterns. And if you want to know more about a topic, go read Steve Nison's Japanese Candlestick Charting Technique book. Really worth it. And you're going to learn all the criteria and all the possible patterns that you can think about. Now, your job after that is going to be to include what works and what fits your style. For example, if I was to trade for myself Doji with the Bollinger Band, I found it don't really work well. So I won't trade Doji, but I might trade engulfing candle, I might trade hammers. I'm still researching on hammer at this point, but the key factor here is that you want to go with numbers and stats. Okay, so AUD CAD is the first pair I'll look at. The other ones are not doing too much for now. They're pretty much at no level. The next one in the watches I'll look at is this one over here, Euro AUD. And I took a trade on this last week. I explained the whole thing in another video that's going to be linked below. But the principle is that here the price is coming back to a potential support area. See how this on a higher time frame, like the weekly chart, is at a resistance area. We've talked about this a few times. On this chart right here, the daily chart, looks like price is going to bounce off that area, which became a support area. I want to make this very clear because this is kind of two conflicting time frames. They say different things. One says it's at a resistance area, the other one says it's support. I basically look at how price moved the past week. So we basically went from the top down and then we went back up, meaning that we're going sideways right now on this particular time frame, the 4 hour chart. And on the daily chart, you would see also it's going sideways. Hence why I'm more likely to trade both kind of type of trades. Okay, but for now, getting to a support area. So we could see some really good move on that the coming week, and I'll keep it flagged for sure. Euro CAD is doing something similar, but it's going back to a resistance area at 1.55. We talked about it a few times. So far, we would have to wait for price to hit the higher band of the Bollinger Band on both of the lower time frame I follow, 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart. But depending on the time frame you look at, just pick whatever time frame you're comfortable with and use that to look at your trades. But here with the lower band, we'll have to see price coming up to the upper band to look for a trade. This one here also is at the upper band right now, which is a good sign. So we could see some potential move to the downside on this pair, which is why I keep it flagged for the week, but I'll look for mainly bear signals on that pair. The next pair I'll look at is USD, and we've talked about this a few times. I had the trade last week that was break even over here at 1.17. This is the zone I'm looking at, and it goes all the way to 1.14. We've said this like 100 times before, so let's just skip. But you want to look for bullish setup on that pair at 1.17, and it looks like price is above the middle band on both time frame, so we need to see price coming back down to the lower band before taking any trade, of course. GBP CHF on a weekly chart looks like it's at its support area, although it bounced a little bit. If you see on a forward chart, for example, quite a big move to the upside over here, and we can still look for trades, but we would have to wait for price to come back to the lower band of the Bollinger Band before placing any trade and seeing the setup once again with price action. GBP NZD also doing the same thing. We talked about this last week, reaching a resistance area at 1.96, and looks like we're very close here to the upper band on the forward chart. I like how this looks. Same on the 1 hour chart, but we'll have to see if price makes her sit up with the Bollinger Band and the engulfing candle before taking any trade, of course. This looks really cool. GBP USD coming back to support. We've also talked about this last week, but we're starting to go back up. And I've shared this here, a trade I missed on the 60-minute chart at 5 AM. But whatever, if you want to trade this, that would be a great setup. Now we are back to the zone, and I'll look for a trade as we come back to the low band of the Bollinger Band on both time frame. But for now, we'll have to wait a little bit. But it's still at the zone, so I keep it flat because I want to have a look, and also because I'll share more at the end about that. USD CAD is also at a point we talked about last week, coming back to a support. This is intermediary support on the daily chart, pretty much. We see it on the weekly chart here, that price coming back to a previous high, but we see it much better on the daily chart. See how this looks really crisp and clear. So I want to see some setup here on the lower time frame. Looks like we went up a few weeks ago. Past week was like really doing nothing, so up and down and pretty much sideways. But if we go on lower time frame, and pretty much we'll see something interesting. So price going back to the low band of the Bollinger Band on the 60-minute chart, and on the forward chart it's coming close, but we'll have to wait for more evidence on this, of course, because it's going to take a few hours, but it looks really good. And finally, USDJPY, the last pair I want to look at today. I want to bring this one just as an example of something I would not be likely to trade because of the fact that, and I'll explain here, it's breaking above a high. Really good at this if you're going to be a breakout trader or a trend trader, because you can trade the trend, you can trade with the breakout. But as a reversal trader myself, this would be very unlikely to be traded. We have been breaking above these highs, and our price is going to be above the middle band for a whole time. So see how this is like trending, and we have no place to take any trade. And betting here on reversals is not the way to go. That would be really bad. Win rate would be terrible. So I want to bring this here, like just to include an example of what not to do, because I think it's really important to know in addition to what to do, what not to do. But this is an example like out of context, and I hope you guys like this. Now we've done it for the weekly review. Everything's done, fine. And now I've made myself two little post-it notes, which are going to be in my notebook, just to make sure that I don't forget any pair, and that if I have an alert on my phone, I can look back and take the trade I need to take on time. Because I've been skipping a few trades last week because I had to go back on the computer and check the chart, and I was too late to take the trade, or price was too far and I missed some moves. So I want to make sure I don't miss any move this week, and that's the solution for now. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. Comment below what you thought as always. Subscribe to this channel if it's not done yet. One more video like this every single day, and I'll catch you guys here tomorrow for another video. Ciao.